Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tip. Julian here with another Drops episode. This one for week 23, and this is an important one because this is, for most people, the first week of the fantasy playoffs. So you want to be cutting the right guys to make sure that you take home the win this week and get yourself one step closer to your fantasy hockey trophy. Before we get started, guys, if you haven't already, drop a like and hit that subscribe button. Most of you guys that watch this channel are not subscribed, so definitely would mean the world to me if you guys hit that button. And without further ado, let's jump right into the content, guys, and let's take a look at some forwards that you can consider dropping from your team. First on the list is Evgeny Malkin of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, the reason I have him here is because the Pens are an absolute dumpster fire right now. He has 2 points in his last 5 games, with just about 0 peripherals. So he's not doing a whole lot of anything if he's not putting up a point. And even if he is putting up a point, he's not doing a whole lot of anything else. Now, I like Evgeny Malkin. I've always liked Evgeny Malkin. But if you're in like an 8-man league, he might belong on the waiver wire this week, especially if you're looking at your lineup. The Pens play on pretty busy nights. So if you're looking at your lineup and you're like, I can't really fit this guy in my lineup anyway, he might be worth dropping. It's the fantasy playoffs. You have to make those tough decisions. In any kind of league that's deeper than 8-man, you kind of have to hold on to Malkin and cross your fingers. But for an 8-man, definitely droppable. In my 8-man league, he's currently on the waiver wire. Johnny Gaudreau of the Columbus Blue Jackets at 48% roster, someone who doesn't belong on a fantasy team right now. I know he's putting up more points than he was earlier in the season, but the peripherals are pretty much non-existent. And if you're in a shallow league and you have him on your team, I don't know what to tell you. He does not belong on your team. If you're in a super deep league, fine, the points he's putting up is good enough, but man, if you're in a shallower league, he definitely doesn't need to be on your team. Alexis Lafreniere, I've had him on this list quite a few times over the years, and he hasn't been that great lately, despite his pretty good deployment. And New York doesn't have that great of a schedule. They play on 3 of the 4 busy nights, so you may not even be able to fit him in your lineup anyway, so definitely go ahead and check that. And if you can't fit him, definitely someone to be dropping. And then Ricard Raquel, guys, he's also part of that dumpster fire Penguin scene. For some reason, they're just giving this guy some terrible deployment, playing him third line, not even top power play. There are guys who have significantly less talent than this guy who are getting better deployment, so I don't really get it. Unfortunately, unless they fix that deployment, I'll be dropping him personally in a pretty deep league that I'm in, like a super deep league. So I'm going to hold him for a few more games. If that doesn't change, he's definitely someone I'm going to be looking to drop. And then finally, Adam Henrique. I liked his outlook actually going on to the Oilers. I thought he'd be playing on the second line with Draisaitl. Doesn't look like it, unfortunately. He's playing as the third line center. His line mates aren't that bad. He's with Evander Kane, who's also ice cold, though. And Connor Brown, who actually scored his first goal of the season playing with Henrique. So obviously, he's not completely valueless. If you're in a super deep league, you can still hang on to Henry because he puts up some decent peripherals and he's pretty good at face-offs. So definitely someone who I could hang on for peripherals, but don't expect him to put up lots of points like he was earlier in the season unless he gets promoted to one of the top 2 lines. In terms of defense, Brent Burns is the first guy I have on this list. The dude has 3 points in his last 16 games and he's still 90% rostered. What are you guys doing? Do you want to win the fantasy playoffs? Brent Burns is not someone who's going to be helping you here. I mean, if you're in a super deep league, you're going to hold him and cross your fingers for a miracle. But if you're in a shallower league, go ahead and grab somebody else. Brent Burns is just hurting you. Noah Hannafin is the next guy I have on this list. Now, he has okay peripherals and a couple of points since joining Vegas. He's ownable for sure, but he's also droppable in shallower leagues if you need to be making moves. Brady Shea is someone who, I don't understand why he's 71% rostered. He's someone who doesn't really deserve to be rostered in that many leagues. I mean, he puts up a point every once in a while, but his point production is not overly reliable and his peripherals aren't very good. Rasmus Andersson has no points in his last 5 games and he's a -6 in that stretch, and he has 1 point in his last 8. Now, Rasmus Andersson is also no longer getting top power play time in Calgary. For some reason, they're giving that to Daniil Miromanov. So I don't love Rasmus Andersson right now, and since it's the fantasy playoffs, you may have to make that tough decision and cut him, especially if you're in a shallower league. Oliver Ekman-Larsson is the next guy I have on this list at 26% rostered. With Montour playing as well as he is, Oliver Ekman-Larsson definitely does not need to be owned. He's not putting up a lot of points. He's not putting up a lot of peripherals. Drop him now. In terms of goalies, Philip Gustafsson is kind of a must-drop right now. Fleury seems to have really taken that starting job in Minnesota, and he's probably going to run with it. He's playing really, really well right now. Now, I don't mind you holding Philip Gustafsson for the back-to-back set that Minnesota has on Tuesday and Wednesday, but after that, Fleury probably gets their next game, which is only on Saturday anyway. And then Minnesota only plays 2 games the next week, and especially if Gustafsson is not even the starter, he's definitely not worth holding. Logan Thompson of the Vegas Golden Knights is not seeing many starts in Vegas. It's really all going to Aiden Hill right now, so he is droppable. Darcy Kemper, you really need to be dropping right now for Washington. Lindgren has been way better than him and should get pretty much all the starts on those beautiful off nights that Washington has this week. And then Jonathan Quick of the New York Rangers, I don't think is going to get a start this week. The Rangers play 3 games only, and all 3 are on busy nights, and none of them are back-to-back, so I'm not expecting Quick to get a start. And then Vitek Vanacek of the San Jose Sharks. If you're pretty full on IR spots and you're wondering who to drop, Vanacek is a really, really easy drop because he's probably not going to play again this year. And frankly, even if he did, he's playing for San Jose, he's not going to do exactly that great. So definitely someone who's droppable here. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. If you enjoyed the content today, please drop a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Best of luck in your playoff matchups, guys, and I hope to see you next week when you've won. I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tech.